Good morning, friends. Afternoon, whenever you're watching this video or listening as you're doing your life. This is Tracy Brown, and my team and I of non-diet dietitians provide trauma-informed nutrition counseling so that you can feel safer in your own skin. So I have an interesting topic for us today. It kind of came up all of a sudden last week, and I'm like, and it felt really strong in my system. So here we are talking about it. And I know it's a really long title to this video, but I named it, Here's a Path to maybe understand or even eliminate deception, denial, and dissociation, so you can make progress with your desire to heal food and body image issues, to get your vitality back, get your health back. And I say all this, it's because it's not our fault that not only have we have generations of mind control programming around food and body image and how people are supposed to look, but also even in the information that we're trying to gather to just again help improve our sense of aliveness and have better energy and to deal with maybe some chronic issues that have popped up. So this isn't a how to fix your health video, but it is a roadmap for sure of how to stay on track and don't give up, essentially. So let's just go ahead and get started. I made a list of 4 things that I think are very vital. And I want this video. So again, my expectation, honestly, for you to even be watching these videos is that you come to a very, basically get what you need to learn in an environment, hopefully that's relatively safe, and then take action on that. And sometimes the action is reaching out for more help because a lot of this is hard to do on your own, which just kind of goes to the point of number 1. Is that we have to start to get into relationship with safe others. And that could be your virtual communities, like your groups and things like that. But I think it's also really important that you have at least 1 or 2 people that when you're digging in more deeply, that can hear it without making it about themselves or checking out. So I want you to, I know a lot of people are like, I've never had that. I don't know how to get that. But I think sometimes one of the barriers is that we're just terrified to be vulnerable and we fear rejection so much that we can't really see whom is around us that could be willing to sit with us and to share those experiences and vice versa, right? So remember that food issues happen in relationship. They happen in disordered relationship. Doesn't mean that doesn't have to be abusive to be disordered. But if you're in a situation where people are being extreme about trying to get health concerns met, and I know that sometimes when people are more extreme, that they're doing it out of a fear-based place, and I get that, and there's no judgment about it. It's just that when we're in a place of like, there's only one right way to do this, we end up kind of shutting other people's, we don't hear other people very well. So it's really important that if we are on this path of healing, that we have people in our lives that can listen, but that also will challenge us in truth and love. That don't have like some inappropriate, like if there is an agenda, agenda might be that like, I would love when my clients come to see me, that they have as far as they can go healing as possible. I'm not in denial about that. I do want that for people. All right. But it's not about me getting something from you for you to get that. Now, of course, there's an exchange, of services and all that, but I'm not trying to get something from you emotionally. We're just exchanging, that. So that the relationship that we're in with people that help us in our healing journey, things seem to be transparent and really congruent. Okay. And then that builds that safety. And oftentimes what I see that disassociates us and keeps us in denial and deception that people aren't safe is that we don't have written down our criteria of what would be safe and does this match, and can I slow down to understand if that matches or not. Okay, Number two, about this whole, how do we help ourselves with like getting our, working on this denial and deception that we might have. We're going to have a strong motivation for that. I know that for myself personally, and for the people that I see get to a place of really full, if not super, super, super duper significant healing, and they just we never get past that, is that, or go further than that, or we want to keep going further, is that we really want this. For me, I had to have a word, and it was truth. I want truth more than I want comfort, more than I want people to like me, more than I'm just willing to pay the cost for that. And that's significant sometimes. And having discussions with people who've been there are really helpful to help us. Like when we think about motivation, sometimes it's the day-to-day of like that meal was more peaceful, or long-term we know that like when we get out of culture, culture is a quick fix mentality kind of stuff. That's not going to keep us motivated. We have to have something that long-term keeps us motivated. Again, is it truth? Is it ease? Is it that you can sleep well at night knowing that even if you weren't as successful as you wanted to be with your meal plan, or your health routine thing you're doing, that that you're really aware maybe of the barriers that made it hard, and that's what you're working on tomorrow, whatever that means, okay? Number three is education. We have to know what's causing us to dissociate, maybe how we got in denial, or how come parts of us stay in denial, and what we're being deceived by. Because if you don't know what's pulling you back in, now that you're on this journey, you're going to feel kind of beat up and confused, versus like, okay, what action is required for healing? What causes me to dissociate? Simple questions like, well, what would cause me to still like want to lose weight? What would cause me not want to be at my body's true like flourishing kind of place? How come the denial is so strong around this part of it when this part's easier? Let's be curious about that. That's the education piece of learning like what makes that work, so that you know what intervention to put with that. It's so important. We talk about education around like, well, how much how much potassium is good for me if I've got some like HPA access stuff going on, like I'm really, really fatigued and my thyroid's struggling. We want to know some of those things so we can put some of those foods, more of those foods maybe in our intake. That's great. But when you want to do the same thing with like, how does all this work? If you don't educate yourself about how and why, why that makes sense I would be in denial, or that makes sense that I would check out here, or that it makes sense that thing triggers me to do this thing even though it wears me out. We got to understand that. And the fourth thing, which is, I know it's so hard to talk about this because I know so many of us have been working at this for a long time, and especially with the world that we're living in, it seems like things are putting more squeeze on us, pressure-wise. But it's perseverance. It's normal to get tired. Times get tough. Sometimes we want to give up and just say, well, I guess this is just as far as I'm going to go. Or maybe this is just how it's going to be. But I want to encourage you all to stick with it, even if you have those thoughts and feelings. Because I know it's tempting to go back to diet culture. I know it's tempting. It just is, because that path is so well worn. We know what to expect, even if it causes us pain, suffering, disappointment. It makes us, we recount all the losses in our life. I get that. So we're here and we don't want it. But it's also hard to keep going sometimes when we're really tired. And maybe our body's been hurt. And there's just a life beyond. And there's even contentment sometimes. I know a lot of us have some long-term ramifications, to following diet culture as a way to like feel closer to people, or to feel some kind of faux, it's not real safety, but it's some sense of something that feels less bad, essentially. And I know that, there's stuff that we've had to live with because of that. And that's not, we can't constantly condemn ourselves or shame ourselves for it. we want to get to a place of understanding and contentment, knowing that like we don't know the future and we don't know what good might come from all this, So again, I know this was a little bit longer video and a little bit, it's pretty long and it's nuanced, and it's important we ask these questions and that your pen and paper are ready for these kind of videos. Because I don't know about you all, but I don't respond well to the surface level memes. I want to know how this all works. I want to know how it works. And whatever it is I'm doing, like not only do here is, I get the education of like what is required, what do I need to know, generally how long these things kind of take, and just make that decision, sign me up, and it takes that willingness to be in a relationship with others, to figure out like our why with all this, because we're not going to always feel happy, but we got to know how come it is we're signing up for this and being willing to persevere. So this is our pathway through. And I know that for each person, all of these little steps, if we will hold on to these 4 things: healthy relationship with others, what's our why, understanding what's required, and the perseverance through all the details of the how, when you're working through that, we're not going to give up, because if the how takes 3 months or 3 years or 3 decades, we're going to be willing to. And but the more I honestly, what's the right word here? Just the wanting the truth and desiring that coming home to honestly who you are beyond all this stuff. That's for me what keeps me going, what's kept me going. And maybe something like that's similar to you too. And just so you know, I'm going to talk a little bit in next video, probably next week, about something that's really part of all this, and it's going to be about joy. So that's a whole other video, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of like, well, now what? I'll give you a little bit of something for that next week. But don't wait for me to tell you what you feel like you need to do. It's more about like, if a lot of the information is already out there and the people are out there that know how to work through all the nuances that are out there to help you, what's keeping you from getting started with that today? So I'll leave you with that, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye for now.